What if I told you that your greatest weakness, the one thing silently sabotaging your happiness and success, is caring too much about what others think of you? Let me ask you this. How many times have you hesitated to speak your mind, to take a risk, or to walk away from something toxic because you were afraid of what they might think? Too often we don't live for ourselves. We live for their approval, their validation, their judgment. And here's the cold, hard truth. The more you care about their opinions, the less power you have over your own life. Think about it. Every time you worry about their thoughts, you're handing over a piece of yourself. You're letting them decide how you feel, what you do, and ultimately, who you are. This is the real trap, the prison of caring too much. And let me tell you, as long as you live in that prison, you will never be free. But there's a way out. A way to take back control, to break free from their grip, and to live life on your terms. It starts with one simple yet life-changing decision. Stop caring about them. And no, I'm not talking about becoming cold or heartless. This isn't about shutting people out. It's about reclaiming your power by recognizing one fundamental truth. Their opinions are outside your control. The ancient Stoics believed this with every fiber of their being. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You see, the moment you stop caring about what's beyond your control, you unlock a kind of inner freedom that most people will never experience. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you stop caring, something profound happens, not just within you, but around you. When you stop chasing their approval, they start noticing you. When you stop seeking validation, you create an air of mystery and strength that draws people in. It's a shift in power, a psychological dynamic rooted in dark psychology and ancient wisdom alike. When you don't need them, they want you. And that, my friends, is where your true power lies. In this video, we're going deep. I'm going to show you how caring too much is a subtle form of self-sabotage, how people manipulate your need for approval, and most importantly, how you can break free from this toxic cycle using principles grounded in Stoicism and psychology. This isn't just another self-help lesson. This is a blueprint for reclaiming your peace, your strength, and your life. But before we dive in, I need you to make a commitment to yourself right now. If you're ready to stop caring about them and start living for you, hit the like button and comment below, "I reclaim my power." Let that phrase be your first step on this journey. Let it be a reminder that you're done living for others and ready to step into your own greatness. This is Stoic Blessing, where we focus on empowering you to master your mind and live with strength and purpose. If you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video that helps you become the best version of yourself. All right, let's dive in. This is where it all changes. Number 1. The cost of caring too much. Let's get real. Caring too much about what others think isn't just a bad habit, it's a heavy, invisible chain. And the worst part? You're the one holding the key. But here's the thing about chains. When you wear them long enough, they start to feel normal. You forget the weight, the restriction, and the damage they're doing to your life. You tell yourself, this is just how things are, but deep down, you know better. You feel the anxiety when you post something online and wait for likes. You hear the self-doubt when someone criticizes you, and it cuts deeper than it should. You sense the fear when you want to say no, but instead say yes because you don't want to upset them. This is the cost of caring too much. You trade your freedom for their approval. And let me tell you, it's a terrible deal. Because here's what they don't tell you. No matter how much you care, no matter how hard you try to please them, it will never be enough. People's opinions are fickle. One minute they praise you, the next they tear you down. And if your sense of self-worth depends on their validation, you'll spend your life on an emotional roller coaster you can't control. The Stoics had a term for this, dichotomy of control. They taught that life is divided into two categories: what you can control and what you can't. Opinions, completely outside your control. And yet, we exhaust ourselves trying to win people over, as if their opinions define our value. But think about it. If you're constantly seeking their approval, who's living your life? Them or you? And this isn't just about feelings. The cost of caring too much shows up everywhere. In your career, you hold back your ideas because you're afraid of criticism. In relationships, you accept less than you deserve because you don't want to rock the boat. In your daily life, you make small compromises, choosing what's comfortable for them instead of what's right for you. Add those up, and you realize you've built a life around their expectations, not your aspirations. But here's the truth. The only approval you need is your own. When you care too much, you drain your energy, your focus, and your confidence. And for what? For the fleeting validation of people who might not even respect you. That's a losing game. But the good news is, you can choose to stop playing. The moment you shift your focus from their opinions to your own values, you start taking back control. Right now, I want you to pause and reflect. How much of your energy have you wasted worrying about what they think? And what could you accomplish if you redirected that energy back to yourself? Let me know in the comments below and say it loud. I take back my power. Let's declare it together. Because the moment you realize the cost of caring too much, you'll see why it's a price you can't afford to pay any longer. Now that we've uncovered the cost of caring too much, let's talk about the ultimate game changer, the power of indifference. Stay with me, because this next part is where the transformation truly begins. Number 2, the power of indifference. Let's talk about indifference, not the kind where you're cold or heartless, but the kind where you refuse to let other people's opinions control you. This is the power the ancient Stoics mastered. They called it apatheia, a state of being where you remain unshaken by external events. Imagine walking through life like a fortress, untouched by their judgment, their praise, or their criticism. That's the power of indifference. Now, some people misunderstand indifference. They think it's weakness. They think it means you don't care about anything. But that's not true. Indifference doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop obsessing over things that don't matter. It's about caring deeply for what's within your control and letting go of everything else. Picture this. You're standing in the middle of a storm, but instead of fighting the wind and rain, you stand firm, calm, and focused. The storm doesn't control you. You control you. That's what true indifference feels like. Here's the secret. When you master indifference, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. Think about it. Most people are slaves to their need for validation. They'll jump through hoops to get attention, approval, or praise. But when you stop chasing those things, you become a mystery. People can't figure you out, and that makes you magnetic. They're drawn to your strength because they can't shake you. They can't manipulate you. And deep down, that's what everyone respects. Someone who doesn't need their approval. But here's the twist. Indifference isn't just for other people's opinions. It's also for their actions. Someone criticizes you? Indifference. Someone praises you? Indifference. Someone tries to provoke you? Indifference. Why? Because their actions are not about you. They're a reflection of them. When you adopt this mindset, you free yourself from reacting to their drama. You stop being their puppet. And once you stop reacting, you start acting with purpose and power. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from focusing only on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your character. Everything else is just noise. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is your superpower. Indifference isn't weakness, it's a shield. It protects your peace, your energy, and your focus. And when you have those, you can achieve anything. So, let me ask you, How much energy have you wasted reacting to things that don't matter? What could you accomplish if you redirected that energy toward your goals, your passions, and your growth? Take a moment and drop it in the comments below. Say, "I choose indifference to their opinions." Let this be your declaration of independence from their control. Now that you understand the power of indifference, let's take it a step further. What happens when you stop chasing their attention and start focusing on yourself? You'll want to stick around for this because the results might surprise you. Number 3. When you stop chasing, they start following. Here's the paradox most people don't realize. The more you chase something or someone, the further it gets from you. But the moment you stop chasing, something incredible happens. They start coming to you. It's almost as if the act of letting go creates a gravitational pull. This isn't just a metaphor, it's rooted in both psychology and human nature. And when you combine this truth with the Stoic principle of self-sufficiency, you unlock a level of power and attraction that's unstoppable. Let's break it down. When you chase someone's approval, you're sending a message, whether you realize it or not, that you need them more than they need you. You're putting them on a pedestal, which automatically lowers your value in their eyes. People sense this imbalance, and it pushes them away. Why? Because neediness is repellent. But the moment you stop chasing, when you focus on yourself, your goals, and your inner peace, you flip the dynamic. You're no longer the one seeking validation. You become the one others seek. It's not magic, it's psychology. Humans are naturally drawn to what they can't have. When you stop caring about their opinions or attention, you become elusive. You create an air of mystery. People start wondering, why doesn't this person need me? What makes them so confident, so independent? And that curiosity pulls them in. This is the power of scarcity. When you stop giving your energy away so freely, it becomes more valuable. The Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that self-mastery is the ultimate form of power. When you stop chasing, you redirect all that energy back to yourself. You grow stronger, more focused, more magnetic. And here's the irony. When you stop needing them, they start needing you. They sense your strength, your independence, and your freedom from external validation. That's what makes you stand out. In a world full of people desperate for attention, the one who doesn't care is the one who holds the power. But let's be clear, this isn't about playing games or manipulating people. This is about stepping into your own worth and letting others see it for themselves. You're not ignoring them out of spite. You're focusing on what truly matters. Your growth, your peace, your values. And that focus is what draws people in, whether it's respect, admiration, or even love. So, stop running after people who don't see your value. Stop bending over backward to earn their approval. Instead, stand still. Focus inward. Let them come to you. Because when you stop chasing, you don't just regain your power, you become someone they can't ignore. If this resonates with you, let me know in the comments right now. Say, "I stop chasing and reclaim my power." Let this be the moment you decide to stop running after what was never meant for you. Instead, attract what's truly aligned with your purpose. In the next section, we'll dive into what happens to your energy when you stop caring. This shift is more profound than you might think. Stick with me, because this is where things start to transform on a deeper level. Number 4. The energy shift that happens. Here's something most people overlook. When you stop caring about them, something remarkable happens. You take back your energy. Think about it. Every time you stress over their opinion, worry about their approval, or try to impress them, you're giving away a part of your energy. And energy is everything. It's your drive, your focus, your creativity. The more you waste it on others, the less you have for yourself. But when you stop caring, you reclaim all that energy, and suddenly, your life starts to change. Let me ask you this. How often do you feel drained after overthinking what someone said, replaying a conversation in your head, or obsessing over whether they like you. That mental loop isn't harmless. It's robbing you of your power. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that your peace of mind is directly tied to what you focus on. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "He who is not disturbed by anything outside of himself has found true freedom." And when you stop letting external noise consume you, you free up your energy for what really matters. Here's where the shift gets interesting. The moment you stop pouring your energy into their opinions, you redirect it inward. And that's when the magic happens. You start to feel lighter, more focused, more productive. Your mind clears and your creativity comes alive. You begin to notice opportunities you were blind to before because you were too distracted by what they thought. And most importantly, you start building the life you want, not the life they approve of. But it's not just about internal growth. This energy shift also changes how people perceive you. When you focus on yourself, you project confidence. You send a signal that you're in control, that you value yourself enough not to waste energy on what doesn't matter. And that energy is magnetic. People are drawn to those who exude self-assurance, even if they can't explain why. Your newfound clarity and focus become contagious, and people can't help but take notice. This is the power of protecting your energy. It's not selfish, it's essential. Your energy is finite, and where you direct it determines the quality of your life. So, why waste it on people or opinions that don't serve your growth? Why not channel it into your goals, your passions, and your purpose? Imagine what you could achieve if you stopped worrying about them and started focusing entirely on you. Right now, I want you to reflect on this. How much of your energy have you been giving away? And what could you accomplish if you brought all that energy back to yourself? Let me know in the comments and say it out loud. I reclaim my energy for my growth. Let this be your reminder that your energy is sacred and you have the power to protect it. Next, we'll uncover something even deeper: how people manipulate your need for approval and how you can stop falling into their traps. This is where the psychological aspect gets truly eye-opening. Don't miss it. Number 5. How people manipulate your need for approval. Here's a truth most people don't want to face. Your need for approval is a weakness, and there are people out there who know exactly how to exploit it. They see your desire to be liked, respected, or validated, and they use it to control you. It's a subtle form of manipulation, but it's powerful. And unless you become aware of it, you'll keep falling into their trap. Think about it. How often have you bent over backward to gain someone's approval? Maybe it was a boss, a friend, or even a partner. They dangled a little bit of praise in front of you, just enough to keep you hooked, but never enough to satisfy you. That's not by accident. People who manipulate understand that withholding approval keeps you chasing it. They know that as long as you crave validation, they hold the power. This isn't just a psychological trick, it's a tactic rooted in human behavior. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement. It's the same principle used in gambling or social media likes. You get just enough validation to keep you hooked, but never enough to feel truly secure. And because you're constantly chasing that next hit of approval, you lose sight of what really matters: your own self-worth. The Stoics saw through this thousands of years ago. They understood that relying on external validation makes you a puppet. Epictetus warned, if you seek others' approval, you are their slave. And that's exactly what happens. The more you depend on their opinions, the more power they have over you. They decide your mood, your worth, your direction in life. But here's the thing. Their approval is an illusion. It's a carrot on a stick, and as long as you keep chasing it, you'll never truly be free. So how do you break free? It starts with awareness. You need to recognize when someone is using your need for approval against you. Are they withholding compliments to keep you trying harder? Are they criticizing you in subtle ways to make you doubt yourself? Once you see the patterns, you can stop playing their game. The next step is to redirect your focus inward. Stop seeking their approval and start approving of yourself. Validate your own choices, your own actions, your own worth. Because when you don't need their validation, they lose their power over you. And here's the irony. When you stop needing their approval, you gain their respect. They can't manipulate you anymore, and that makes you unpredictable. Unpredictability equals power. They realize they can no longer control you, and that shifts the entire dynamic in your favor. This isn't about playing games, it's about stepping into your own strength and refusing to be anyone's pawn. Right now, I want you to make a decision. Are you going to keep letting others manipulate your need for approval, or are you going to take back your power? If you're ready to break free, drop a comment below. I validate myself. Let this be the moment you reclaim your independence. In the next section, we'll explore what happens when you stop seeking validation altogether. The freedom you'll feel is unlike anything you've experienced before. Stick with me. This is where you truly start living for yourself. Number 6. The freedom of living without validation. Now imagine this, waking up in the morning and not caring what anyone thinks of you, walking into a room without the need to impress, without the fear of judgment, posting your thoughts, living your truth, making decisions, not because you want their approval, but because you trust yourself. This is the freedom of living without validation. It's a level of peace and power most people will never experience, but it's available to you the moment you decide to stop seeking their approval. Let me paint a picture for you. When you live without validation, you become unshakable. Someone praises you? Great, but it doesn't inflate your ego. Someone criticizes you? Fine, but it doesn't break your spirit. Why? Because your sense of self no longer depends on their opinions. You've built a foundation within yourself that no one can touch. This is what the Stoics called inner citadel, a fortress of the mind where your value and peace are protected from the chaos of the outside world. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Isn't that ironic? We let people who barely know us decide how we feel about ourselves. But when you stop living for validation, you flip the script. You stop asking, "What do they think of me?" and start asking, "What do I think of myself?" And that shift changes everything. Here's where the magic happens. When you no longer need validation, you free yourself to take risks, speak your mind, and pursue what truly matters to you. You stop playing it safe because you're no longer afraid of failure or judgment. And ironically, this makes you more successful, more confident, and more respected. Why? Because people are drawn to authenticity. When you live without validation, you give others permission to do the same. You inspire them, even if they don't realize it. But let me be honest, this isn't easy. Letting go of validation means confronting your own insecurities. It means being okay with not being liked by everyone, and that's hard for a lot of people. But here's the truth. The freedom you gain is worth every bit of discomfort. Imagine the clarity of making choices based on your values, not their expectations. Imagine the peace of knowing your worth comes from within, not from their approval. That's the life you're stepping into when you let go of validation. So, let me challenge you right now. Take a moment and ask yourself, who am I living for? Is it them or is it me? Be honest. And if you're ready to live for yourself, drop a comment below and declare it. I live for my truth. This is your turning point. This is where you stop giving them power and start taking it back. In the next section, we're going to talk about one of the most powerful tools for living this way, setting boundaries like a Stoic. This is where your freedom becomes unshakable. Stay with me. You don't want to miss this. Number 7. Setting boundaries like a Stoic. Let's talk about boundaries, the invisible lines that define where your power begins and where theirs ends. Boundaries are essential if you want to stop caring about them and start living for yourself. But here's the problem. Most people are terrified of setting boundaries. Why? Because they fear rejection. They worry that if they say no, people will walk away. But here's the truth. When you set boundaries, you don't lose respect. You gain it. Boundaries aren't walls. They're a form of self-respect. And the Stoics understood this better than anyone. The Stoics believed that self-control was the foundation of a good life. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Boundaries are the ultimate expression of self-mastery. They're not about controlling others. They're about controlling yourself. When you set boundaries, you're saying, "This is what I stand for. This is what I will and will not allow in my life." And when you live by those principles, people take notice. They may not always like it, but they will respect it. Let me ask you this. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How often have you let someone overstep because you didn't want to cause conflict? Every time you do that, you're teaching people how to treat you. You're saying, "My comfort, my needs, and my values don't matter as much as yours." But when you start setting boundaries, you flip that script. You show people that you value yourself, and that forces them to value you too. But here's the key. Boundaries aren't about being harsh or aggressive. They're about being firm and clear. If someone oversteps, you calmly let them know. You don't need to explain yourself or seek their approval. A simple, "That doesn't work for me," is enough. And if they push back, that's not your problem. The Stoics taught us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our words, and our choices. You can't control how others react to your boundaries, but you can control whether you stand by them. And here's the beauty of boundaries. They filter out the people who don't belong in your life. When you set boundaries, the wrong people will leave and the right people will stay. Because the people who truly respect you won't be threatened by your limits. They'll appreciate them. Boundaries aren't just about keeping negativity out. They're about creating space for the right things to come in. So, let me challenge you right now. Where in your life do you need stronger boundaries? Is it with a friend who takes more than they give? A partner who doesn't respect your time? A workplace that drains you? Identify one area where you need to draw the line and then do it. Drop a comment below and say it out loud. "I set boundaries to protect my peace." Let this be the moment you choose self-respect over fear. In the next section, we'll talk about the ultimate reward for all of this. The respect and power you gain when you stop caring and start living with intention. Trust me, this is where everything comes full circle. Stick with me, you're almost there. Number 8. The ultimate payoff: respect and power. Here's the truth about letting go of caring too much. When you stop seeking their approval, when you set boundaries, and when you focus on yourself, something amazing happens. You gain respect, not just from others, but from yourself. And with that respect comes power. The kind of power that doesn't need to dominate or control, but the power that quietly commands attention and influence without even trying. Think about it. Respect isn't something you can beg for. It's not something you can force. Respect is earned when people see that you value yourself, when they realize you're not afraid to walk away, when you live by your principles and refuse to compromise your integrity. That's when people stop seeing you as someone to take for granted and start seeing you as someone to admire. The Stoics knew this well. They lived by the idea that true strength comes from within. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." Craving approval, validation, or recognition makes you needy, and neediness repels respect. But when you stop craving, when you live with self-sufficiency, you exude an energy that demands respect without saying a word. But here's the twist. This respect doesn't just come from others. The ultimate payoff is the respect you gain for yourself. When you stop caring about their opinions, you start living authentically. You start making choices that align with your values, not their expectations. And every time you do, you build a deeper trust in yourself. You stop second-guessing. You stop overthinking. You realize that you're more than enough, just as you are. And here's the best part. The power you gain isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. Power isn't about being loud or aggressive. It's about being calm in chaos, steady in uncertainty, and grounded in your truth. That kind of power doesn't just change how others see you. It changes how you see the world. You stop reacting to every little thing. You stop getting pulled into drama. You start focusing on what truly matters. Let me ask you this. What would your life look like if you stopped caring about their opinions and started respecting your own? How would it feel to walk into a room knowing that you don't need anyone's approval because you already have your own? Take a moment and visualize that. And when you're ready, drop a comment below. I respect myself and I live by my truth. Let this be your affirmation of the power and respect you're stepping into. In the next section, we'll wrap this all up with a final dose of empowerment, a reminder of everything you've learned, and a call to action that will transform your life. Stick with me, because this is the moment you fully reclaim your power. Number 9. Final empowerment and call to action. So here we are. You've made it to the end of this journey, and now it's time to put everything you've learned into action. Let's take a moment to reflect on the transformation you're stepping into. You've discovered the cost of caring too much and how it drains your energy and keeps you stuck. You've seen the power of indifference, the freedom and strength that comes from letting go of their opinions. You've learned how setting boundaries is an act of self-respect, how living without validation leads to true freedom, and how all of this earns you the ultimate payoff, respect and power. But none of this means anything if you don't take action. Knowledge without action is just noise. The real change happens when you decide, right here, right now, to stop caring about them and start living for yourself. The Stoics believed that life isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is your moment to reclaim that power. Here's your first step. Choose one thing from this video, just one, and apply it today. Maybe it's setting a boundary with someone who's been taking advantage of you. Maybe it's choosing not to react to someone's criticism. Or maybe it's simply sitting with yourself and affirming your own worth. Whatever it is, commit to it, because every small action you take is a step closer to living the life you deserve. And let me remind you, this journey isn't about becoming indifferent to everything. It's about becoming indifferent to what doesn't matter, so you can focus deeply on what does. It's about shifting your energy from chasing approval to building the life you want. It's about recognizing that your worth has never been in their hands. It's always been within you. If this message has resonated with you, let me know in the comments right now. Say it loud and clear. I reclaim my power. Let this be your declaration that you're done living for others and ready to live for yourself. And before you go, if you found value in this video, hit the like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Subscribe to Stoic Blessing and turn on notifications so you never miss another video.